Oh, okay. Fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, folks, good morning. Is it morning? early afternoon. We are going to follow up on the previous session that hopefully you experienced. Hopefully you're filling back in, come to the front, and let's make this conversation as friendly and welcoming as possible. We have a panel discussion now, following up on the pitching that we heard from earlier. So we will hear insights from your colleagues working in the 3 cities who presented their challenges. We'll also hear from a representative of one of the EIC innovators who presented, and from the European Commission as well, really focusing on implementation. So how can we use public procurement, innovation procurement to take some of the challenges, develop them into something that can be then responded to by some of the most forward-thinking and innovative startups in Europe. So we have a really interesting panel discussion. We have 6 very interesting and motivated speakers for you, who I'd like to bring onto the stage now, and we can begin. So first of all, I have Adriana from the city of Košice. I have Mari from the city of Oslo, Tina from Tampere, and then reintroduce Victor from Plexigrid, and Ioannis and Vasilis from European Innovation Council. Please make your way onto the stage. Please take any seat that you wish, and we can kick off. And give them a round of applause. Okay. Super. Okay. We heard in the previous session, for those of you who weren't here, some of the key challenges that face our cities in relation to smart mobility, and also pitches from European Innovation Council innovators on the solutions that are being developed that may be able to address those challenges. But here we really want to dig into how this theory can become something that is implementable through innovation procurement, so on behalf of the cities, and how can they procure solutions similar to those presented by the suppliers. So we'll dig into the European Innovation Council's innovation procurement program, innovation procurement in general, the ways in which cities can access and can be public sector clients for innovators. So welcome back. We talked also a little bit in the first session in the plenary this morning. One of the key insights that was left at the end was around direction. And if we're thinking about procurement pipelines, the procurement strategies of our mission cities, these can really provide a direction to suppliers to give them confidence to develop innovations that can help address those climate neutral solutions. And so hopefully today we will dig into a little bit about how that can work, what maybe some of the barriers are, but also what is currently available in terms of support and assistance for public buyers and for innovative suppliers to create contracts between those 2 entities effectively. So we will begin with the European Commission and the European Innovation Council. So we have, we have Ioannis, who is the Deputy Head of the unit responsible for strategy, policy coordination and urban transitions in DG RTD at the European Commission. The unit is also responsible for the implementation of the mission on climate neutral and smart cities, which is why you're all here, and contributes to the mission of innovation and to the new European Bauhaus mission. And we also have Vasilis Tsnidis, who is a lawyer and innovation procurement program coordinator at the European Innovation Council. So welcome to you two, first of all. My first question, and open to either of you to take this first, is what are the current EU policy initiatives being implemented by DG RTD aimed at driving innovation in urban mobility and innovation more generally to support the cities who are here today, cities represented on the stage, to address their climate neutrality challenges?
Thank you very much, Dominic. And I think that we witnessed just before this nice pitching that we had solution owners and real needs coming from the cities, and we tried to match them up and see whether we can have some projects really tangible on the ground. So it is exactly what we do in DG RTD, and we try to run several interconnected initiatives that try to help cities, try to help also the solutions and solution owners go and speak directly to the cities and to their needs. And of course, we want the cities to implement their very ambitious climate city contracts. So when you say about the instruments, and I mentioned all that are interconnected, allow me first to start for mentioning the mission itself. So the reason that we are here in beautiful Torino, it's also because we have an annual conference, and it's the EU mission for climate neutral and smart cities. And that's a unique instrument. It's a policy instrument that exists under Horizon, and it combines the policy initiative, combines the funding, the community building, and the peer learning with all multiple different stakeholders at different levels of governance. And that's unique in the heart of Horizon Europe, the framework program for research and innovation. And it's targeted because we want to have specific results, which is 112 climate neutral cities by 2030, and all European cities climate neutral by 2050. So this is the first instrument that I would like to mention, and I think it's important because the mission itself helps the cities think systematically, not just doing something once, not just doing something at the local level, but they have to think a bit more to the future, think systematically, incorporate all possible solutions that they can find and all stakeholders, and if possible, to replicate and extrapolate everything that happens in other parts of Europe, in other cities. The second, I would say that it's the Horizon Europe program itself. I think it's an instrument, and Cluster 5, because it's for energy and mobility, it's very important. And the particular part of Horizon Europe Cluster 5 that deals with urban mobility, with zero technologies, it's very important because it is connected with the Clean Industrial Deal, and that incorporates implementation and deployment at the heart of the project. So it's not only research and innovation projects, it's just projects that do have really the potential and the elements to be deployed on the field and bring back benefits directly to society and the market. And I would say we have dedicated programs also, which are the partnerships. So we have European partnerships like the 2.0, for example, with zero emissions mobility. We have the CCAM and the driving urban transition, the DUT. So these are dedicated partnerships with dedicated budgets that help projects bring results in specific domains of interest. And we do have a lot of domains of interest like mobility, energy, changing of mentality, also of philosophy, and bringing these projects far closer to implementation. All of these, of course, are being wrapped up with the idea of using new technologies. And we heard it already, we listened before from the solution owners, technology is there to serve. And I think that DGRTD plays a big role there in trying to implement and put the AI, basically, and other new technologies at the heart of how we manage all of these needs, how we can address these needs, and how we can use technology in order to make really solutions that can last and they can really cost much less in money and effort. And all of this experience, and we would like to take this experience back with us to Brussels, is also to feed the discussion and the negotiation for the next multi-annual financial framework. I think it's important not only to secure a future for the mission, but also to secure a future for all the activities that we've been already engaging at the cities level, and see how they can continue being supported under research and innovation, but also through other financial instruments that we might have in the next programming period. And this is very valuable for us. It is important for us to have this feedback. So all in all, I will say that we have the mission as our crown in our tools, Horizon Europe, which supports a lot of other projects that we can utilize their results. We have dedicated partnerships for that. We have new technologies, and then the discussion and the negotiation with member states on the way forward.
Super, thank you very much. And I heard implementation as a word you repeated a number of times there, and I think talking really about how we turn these solutions which are being developed into solutions that are implementable on the ground for cities. Vasilis, maybe I can move to you in relation to how the European Innovation Council is managing the challenge from innovators and SMEs and their access to public tenders.
Yeah. Thank you very much for this question. Actually, as you have witnessed in the previous session, the European Innovation Council is is providing financial support to top-notch innovators in Europe through grants and equity. But the beauty of the European Innovation Council is that it doesn't stop there. It actually supports the scaling up of innovative companies through different ways. Through the enhancement of skills, there are different programs that in the context of the business acceleration services of EIC that are supporting the enhancement of skills of the innovators. They facilitate the contacts with market players and programs that are supporting the businesses, the actual businesses with the market, such as the investor programs, the corporate program, the trade fairs program, and of course the innovation procurement program, in the context of which we had the matchmaking that happened in the previous session took place. Yeah, procurement is an important element in order to be able for the public sector to modernize its services. As said earlier, 2 trillion euros are being spent through procurement every year. The number is huge. Half of this budget in Europe is spent by cities and regions. So cities and regions are have a superpower in their hands in order to be able to drive innovation towards their needs. It is really important for the cities and regions to understand this power and to use in a smart way this power so that they can tackle the challenges by offering at the same time business opportunities to innovative SMEs and startups. But the goal of the cities is not that. This is a side effect, which is very important for the European economy, but the goal of the cities is to be able to buy or deploy innovative solutions that could make the life of the citizens easier, better, and with more quality. And in order to achieve that, the cities need to understand that they have to, as said, to buy in a smart way. They have to consult the market, as we did earlier here in this matchmaking session. We have seen that cities like Oslo, Aachen, and Košice express their needs and show what is available on the market. It is really important to be able to exercise this power in a wise way that will allow them to buy the best possible solution that could fit the need that they are facing. That's why we are at EIC level. We are aiming not only at maintaining this program, the innovation procurement program, to support the engagement of the market with the supply side, but also to develop it further. Policy documents about innovation procurement highlight the importance of this instrument for the modernization of the public services, but also for the enhancement of the competitiveness of the European economy. It's really important, as said, and I finalize my intervention by saying that for cities and regions to understand the power that they have in their hands to drive innovation towards their actual needs through procurement.
Super. Thank you very much. And we're really, I suppose, at the interface here between the supply side, the EIC, those innovative suppliers who are developing the innovations that could help address the big societal challenges that need to be addressed in order to meet the targets mentioned in the first intervention, but also from the demand side, from the cities, from you in the audience, from our cities represented on the stage here, really thinking about what those needs are. And I think, Vasilis, you mentioned buying services and deploying services and goods to reflect the needs of residents, and buying not only smart things, but in a smart way. So maybe we move then into questions for our cities and suppliers. So we have Mari, who is purchasing advisor from the city of Oslo, Adriana, who is Sustainable Urban Development Officer at the city of Košice, and Tina, the Climate and Environment Manager at the city of Tampere. Maybe Adriana, we can start with you, but my question will be the same to the three of you. When we're talking about innovation procurement, innovation public procurement, what does this really mean in your day-to-day work? We heard some of the policy aspects, but from your perspective, your day-to-day work, what does that mean for you?
Public procurement in general is very complicated matter. So from the point of view, because in our condition, if I talking about the city of Košice, is always the most, I would say, the best criterion for all procurement is the lowest price. We just can't, I would say, like overcross this idea and this criterion. And when we start with the project, it was already mentioned here, it was the crucial point how to make people to think in different way, how to think about all this innovation in procurement. It was something really strange for our department. But we started to work with not just internal people, but external experts who really led us step by step and show us what we can really procure to have better for the public services, to get finally better price for the longer life of things and services we procured. And we are, I would say, in this basic point to bring all these ideas of innovative procurement to our city. But we are really great for the project of cooperation from the Oslo and Aachen to lead us by this way. So we are somewhere in the beginning, but we found the power to deal with this and to cross all these barriers we have to face. So that's our point of view at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Murray, we will pass straight on to you the same question. What does innovation procurement mean on the ground in Oslo?
Yep. Well, I work at the Central Procurement Agency in Oslo. So we have a key driving role to encourage innovation in procurement throughout the city. So for me, that means reaching out to the people that actually own the needs in the city and making sure that they know of the possibilities that lie in innovation procurement. So we have a role in building the necessary skills and making sure that they have the right tools to carry out this way of procuring, basically. But when, as far as the city is concerned, there's a big variation between the agencies in the form of how mature they are on this topic, and also what their idea of innovation in procurement is. Because we find that it's not only, we do have a lot of pilots, we do have different testing. We have had some of the more groundbreaking projects where we actually have a need where there is no solution, most of the time through pre-commercial procurement. So we've had some of those projects, but and we've also bought innovative solutions that are new to the market. So these are different ways of looking at it. But for the most part, the procurements that are taking place are the standard, straightforward procurements. So we also focus just as much on making sure that we have everyday innovation in our normal tenders as well, to open up to new solutions to familiar needs. So we need to spend time really diving into what we actually need, and then we need to talk to the market. These are basics of innovation procurement that we have to apply everywhere, not only in the groundbreaking projects. So we work a lot on that, and yeah, just making sure that we embed and integrate this in everyday procurement as well. So I guess that's the status in Oslo.
Super, thank you. And Tina, yes, the same question for you. What does it mean in your daily work when we say innovation procurement?
Yes, I work now in City of Tampere as a climate and environmental manager, but I used to work as a program manager, so it's kind of making the innovative procurements in that one. And I think that it's always innovative. It always starts from the need that we want to do something new that we haven't done before. We want to find a solution that's maybe it exists in the market, but we haven't used it. We don't actually really know what we want to buy, and that's where we need innovative procurement. And it's not easy. It's always like you need skills to do that. And when you are, for example, a program manager, then your focus is mainly somewhere else than in procurement. So I totally agree that there is a very much need inside the cities to support innovative procurement. And I think that also one thing is that if you want to, it's necessary to use this pre-commercial phase, so that you really you understand as a city representative, you understand your needs, but then with the open discussion with different kind of suppliers, that could help you formulate your needs to be a procurement. And even though I have also experienced that even though if you are having the pre-commercial phase, it's still difficult, maybe it's sometimes not always successful. So I think that is something that cities need support to support innovative procurement.
Super. So really focusing on this pre-procurement phase, the needs, really identifying what you need, what the challenges that you have, and whether anything needs to be procured at all, first of all, I suppose. And then if so, what is that need? Is it available on the market? How do we find out what is being innovated at the moment? And Adriana, you also mentioned this is very complicated. So we've spoken about engaging with the market and the complexities. So Victor, if we move to you, you're obviously coming at this from the other perspective. You're trying to sell to the public authorities. Are you also finding those complications? And then when we're talking about market engagement, the pre-procurement phase, probably going to be having a lot more conversations with cities to understand their needs and to demonstrate how you can meet them. But that same question is, again, linked to what's been said already, but when we're talking about innovation procurement, what does that mean for you when you're trying to sell to public authorities?
Thank you very much. So we may have a little bit of experience with this because our final clients, along with cities, are the network operators. And in fact, our founder was the chief procurement officer of Vattenfall, the network operator in Sweden. And I would like to mention two things that actually has been mentioned by Mari and by Tina. The first one is having that open market analysis, so engaging in conversations with different utilities. I'll also mention a specific example of a procurement that happened in the city of Madrid. Here they were trying to modernize the grid for the flex connections, and the first things they did, they ran an RFI with all of the participants, and the idea on the end of the RFI was to have a pilot. So they did a short listing, they ran the pilot already with the intention of then doing the final tender, but the tender wasn't written before doing the pilot and running the RFI. The other thing that I didn't hear that I think is usually really important and sometimes is a bottleneck is to understand exactly what the available capacities are and what are the legacy systems in place. Because sometimes we come as innovation, we've seen it in fintech with companies that have done really innovative systems, but then the banks have their legacy systems, which are legacy but are good. They have their traditional ways of operating, and sometimes innovation do not want to completely disrupt the industry and replace these things, but rather we come up with a connection. We see it as for us, Plexigrid, as the Gore-Tex that you see in the industry, in which all jackets, North Face, Patagonia would use the same brand. Well, this is the membrane for the electricity grids to have in this information. So we see that the two things, having the open market analysis and then a best of breed approach. So always giving the procurer optionality. That's what we think works best, because it's hard to know before procuring how the different companies will align and the different synergies they may find among themselves.
Super, thank you very much. Any initial reflections, Vasilis, Yanis, from the perspective of those actively involved in public procurement?
One main point, especially from the interventions of the three cities, what is important is to think of procurement as a strategic tool. We need, if we continue using procurement as a tool where that is useful only to tackle the short-term needs, then we will never arrive to good results for the citizens. We have to start thinking procurement strategically. We have to start thinking of positioning it within the organization. We have heard the example of Oslo and how it is interconnected with the different agencies. So we need to understand that procurement plays a horizontal role. It's the way that we are handling the budget, and it's the way that the cities are the main stakeholders in this game can use this budget, this procurement budget, in a way to tackle the needs of the citizens, the needs of the cities themselves, tackle them in the way that satisfies the best possible way their needs, and of course in a market affordable price. So the main message I would say is that, in order to achieve goals at regional and municipal levels, procurement plays a crucial role, and it has to be positioned in a strategic way within the organization to enable the acquisition or the development through pre-commercial procurement of innovative solutions for the needs that we are facing.
Super, absolutely. Yanis?
From my side, I would like to add a couple of things. I mean, I think all three of you mentioned that awareness of what exists in the market is very important. Capacity building, so we have the necessary structures at the people that do the procurement and the necessary skills also. And also that we need to, be careful of what exists and what we can use, how we can use the pre-commercial procurement. The question that comes in mind is that how Commission can help you on that. What exactly, because it will be nice to have a consensus that procurement is complicated. Indeed, it's complicated, and it's something that I can assure you that every Commission official that is involved in procurement doesn't really like it because it's complicated at European level as well. But let's agree on that and also see what we need. So, what Commission, what is the message that you would like us to take back to Brussels in order to help you? Currently, there is a revision of the public procurement regulation or directive. It's directive, yes. So I think that also it's a nice timing to try to influence certain elements inside this directive that will be dominating for the next 10 years and will be actually affecting the way that you do business at local and regional level. So please help us understand what are the specifically 2-3 things that you would like us to change, and then we can take it back and try to change it.
Thank you. Doing my job for me, asking questions. We'll move on to the next question for the cities, and maybe you can incorporate an answer possibly to Yanis's question, which is what is that barrier that you observe and how may it be overcome? But the central thrust of the question is how can cities, you're obviously on stage, you're talking about your work in innovation procurement. Maybe there are those in the audience who are less advanced or still see those hurdles more than the opportunities. So how can cities approach procurement within the framework of your climate city contracts to actively drive innovation rather than just accommodate it? Tina, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think I might try to answer all the questions at the same time. I think that I think it's about mainly about the resources, what is the difficult thing, like how to get this kind of development or get resources from because I think that because the procurement is difficult, resources that we have, they are very busy and they are handling with those things that are necessary to do to keep city running, and then I think that maybe somehow getting more resources for that work. I think that the idea that just came to me, I don't know if it's already possible, but there is in some programs there is this like technical support for something. So maybe some technical support for the innovative procurement. I don't mean only training, maybe training too, but also some kind of a resource that we could actually help in a national level also that knows our national legislation and the frameworks and so on. So that kind of might be very interesting to apply for the support like that. So yeah, but well, that's one idea.
Super, thank you very much. Mari, should we move on to you next, please?
Yeah, I mean, Vasilis mentioned earlier the numbers and the strategic tool that procurement can be. And in Oslo, we treat procurement that way. So in terms of reaching the climate goals, we see procurement as a tool to help us reach those. Because to tackle these challenges, we need new solutions. We need new business models. We need to push the market forward. And we do that through like we talked about, really getting into what is the need and then asking the market to provide the solutions. And an example of that is the zero-emission construction site, where we managed to create a market for zero-emission machinery on the construction sites, which didn't exist before. But I think to be able to do those things effectively, you have to build a culture for taking this risk that I don't think is a given in most places. And you need the dialogue with the market to make them know that investing in these areas will pay off, and you need the commitment from the city side to show them that this is actually something we're willing to invest in. That being said, there are a lot of internal, since we're talking about barriers and what do we need, I find that a barrier that we see goes mostly on internal organizing and these kind of whose responsibility is it to think of innovation. Because if you work with procurement, you tend to go in the same patterns and do the same things as always, and then you think that it's the owner of the need that is responsible for thinking of innovation. So there's a mismatch and a kind of not understanding whose role it is and whose responsibility it is. So that's why we might need help on that to kind of showcase the opportunities that lie within procurement instead of seeing it as a break for innovation environments, for instance. So that might be something to take back.
And then this is a call also for you within your cities to recognize the strategic role of procurement and not only include it at the point at which the need has fully been identified, but from an earlier stage so that you can be having those conversations about introducing the innovation at an earlier stage. Super. Okay, Adriana, we'll move on to you with the same question. How can cities approach procurement within the framework of climate city contracts to drive innovation?
I would like to support the idea of Tina and Mari, because the crucial is that not only the Department of Strategic Development think about the innovative procurement as a strategic tool, but whole municipality administration must think in this way. So whole people who prepare investments in procurement, they have to think about this strategically, and this is the crucial point to just change of mindset of the people who work for the who prepare investments, and so really capacity building is the most crucial point we found during our project, that people didn't know about the possibilities they are at the moment in place. We found out that we really don't know market, what is really on the market. And the last thing is, if we are talking about, for example, for financing from EU, my colleagues just say, just let's stay on the safe side. We are not going to improve anything, just let's say. So really this is about the culture, about mindset, and I think if we can change the thinking of the people who work for the municipality, we can move on.
Thank you. Staying on the safe side and this culture of risk or questioning risks, I think came up a couple of times, and maybe this is where the community aspect of the mission cities comes in. You can engage and share good practice with each other in terms of how to overcome that risk, demonstrating that maybe there isn't a risk of challenge in pursuing innovative climate targets through your procurement spend. So thank you. Maybe Vasilis, an opportunity to promote the assistance, given that Tina mentioned the need for support for public buyers. Is there something available, possibly?
Actually, DGRTD has a program that is called European Assistance for Innovation Procurement that actually offers this capacity building to public sector buyers that would like to implement innovation procurement. We at the IC level, we have joined forces with this program of DGRTD, the European Assistance for Innovation Procurement. We are also at the IC level, we are offering assistance, capacity building in public buyers, to public buyers, in helping them to even draft tender documents that could help them buy or develop innovative solutions through pre-commercial procurement. So please make use of this assistance that is offered you for free, both from DGRTD and from the European Innovation Council. And what is important is really a message that came from all and is relevant for the SMEs. It is really important to consult the market. Don't be afraid to consult the market to see what is available on the market. We have in Europe great SMEs and startups that could offer innovative solutions. And so it is really important before we move on with tender, before we draft the tender documents, to consult the market, to see around what is the market, especially at the European level, capable of offering.
Super. Yeah, it's a real kind of chicken and egg, that market engagement. You as cities don't necessarily know what is out there and how ambitious you can be without engaging with the market. Likewise, the market's not necessarily going to be pushed or can even push you further if there are innovations that exist that you're not aware of. So a really important aspect of considering and using public procurement as a strategic tool that many of you mentioned already. Victor, we'll come back to you. Looking at the three cities on the stage, looking at the cities in the audience as well, from your perspective, from having sold to the public sector, what would it be for you that, or what's something that would need to change to make cities an easier customer?
Yeah, so here I was thinking, well, first of all, was the technical support that has been mentioned multiple times. We believe that it's great to have someone that can understand what has been offered from the different companies. And then something I also wanted to mention is to understand how the different actors in a project will be thinking, or what will be their motivation. And I'll say something. For example, cities have a lot of interaction with public companies. I'm thinking of gas utilities, electric utilities. So someone may think that a network operator will be thinking of the citizens because they connect to the grid. But the reality is that these are heavily regulated companies, so they usually mostly listen to the regulator. So maybe we come into a project into which we're expecting that the network operator will be thinking for the citizens, but they will listen to the regulator. And then we go and speak with the regulator, and the regulator, you would expect, that knows the needs of the citizen. But the truth is that then they come and say, well, the citizens will probably be speaking with the city. And so this kind of loop of information, we believe, is great if it can be closed. So maybe making work groups with all of the stakeholders involved in the project is a good idea. So yeah, I just wanted to reinforce the importance of keeping the regulator, especially the local regulator within this area, informed of what is going to happen, because many of the public companies will be listening exclusively to this, and it could even be a bottleneck. Before, Jair was mentioning that in Oslo they wanted to launch the flex market. Well, in order to do this, you need to do a sandbox, because the national regulation, as you said, is also similar to a thing that the internal team is doing business as usual. And then when the innovation comes in, they say, well, we didn't prepare the regulation for this. We need to wait 4 years until the next cycle. So it is important to keep the regulator engaged with all of these projects, I would say.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll move on to a question for you all to try and get a variety of the opinions from buyers to suppliers to policymakers. We heard pitches in the first session. Hopefully you were here. But if not, we heard challenges from the cities around smart mobility solutions and the issues that they face. And then we heard 3 pitches from EIC beneficiaries proposing solutions that could address those challenges. From your perspectives, what would need to happen tomorrow or today for those solutions to actually be procured? So what are the changes that are needed? What is one thing that would need to enable the cities who presented their challenges to have them addressed by the suppliers from whom we heard pitches? Vasilis, maybe we'll start with you and we'll go along the line that way.
Yep, indeed. Focusing on the matchmaking the pitching that happened in the previous session, I would say it is the first step. In procurement, it takes 2 to tango. Not only the public buyers, but also the suppliers, the innovative SMEs and startups. For procurers, in order to be able to purchase innovation, as said, it is really important to see procurement as a strategic tool that will allow them to dive into the market, to buy in a smart way, to buy solutions that actually need or develop solutions that actually need through pre-commercial procurement in an affordable price, because this is also an important element for the public buyers as well, because we have to all understand that in the public sector we are managing public money. But there is a big but. As said, it takes 2 to tango. The innovative SMEs and startups, they need to learn how to operate in the public procurement world. One step is for the public sector to open up, to be more receptive when it comes to innovation, but the SMEs and innovative SMEs and startups, they have to understand that, public procurement is a big, represents a big business opportunity to them, but in order to be able to tap into this world, to grab this business opportunity, they have to understand how this world is operating. Because, of course, public procurement can become more flexible, can become more innovation receptive, more things. But we need to understand that we are talking about public money, and some basic principles like transparency, equal treatment, and openness have to always exist. So, main message, and I finish with that: for the public buyers to start to be more open to innovation, but also for the SMEs to start understand how the public procurement works and learn how to navigate into this world.
Super. Victor, you're another side of, or one part of the 2 that are going to be tangoing. So what's your answer to the question? Yeah.
So on our side, I would say that we would put it as 3 steps. The first step would be identified who would be the stakeholders, as I said, that could take part in this process. It's good to have them identified initially and hear them, so these needs come up first. And I agree also with what you said, that we need to understand what are the stages. So everyone have their expectations, so how much time this is going to take. and not only on time, but also on budget. When we think of procurement, we're also thinking of the cost of the companies coming in, but we should also dedicate internal resources. This is something we've heard today multiple times. How much time is it going to be involved by the buyers into this? This is super relevant. We've seen many tenders canceled by the network operators because they didn't have resources to take all of the information and understand and define the project. And you are dedicating months and months of procurement of something that then either goes the wrong way or never happens. So we always say, maybe cut a little bit on our part and dedicate time and resources on your procurers and on the people that are on your side understanding what exactly you need. And then I would say that the third place, as I say, is to agree with the regulator on the project that is going to happen so that all of these projects and all of innovation runs in parallel with the more traditional systems that are already in place, both from technology and from a policy state of view.
Thank you very much. Yannis.
Yeah, I would say that what we can do, I mean, today we saw the pitching and the matchmaking, and I think that this today needs to continue because it's something that is very useful because we need to raise this awareness. I would say that tomorrow what I see that cities need is that they need to have an easy access to a market analysis. They really need to have possibility to go in one platform and see what kind of innovations or innovators exist next to them, or even in their region or in their country, or even cross-border if possible, but most importantly next to them. Then I would advocate that the cities together, they can influence that in the next multi-annual financial framework, this technical support exists. Because it existed in the past for regional and development funds, maybe it can exist again in the national partnerships. And we need to ensure the capacity building because we need to have people talking the same language, because I think that SMEs cannot really devote resources to learn the public procurement language and vice versa. Not necessarily every official in the local administration knows how to speak innovation. So we have a translation problem there and we need to solve it as Commission. And we need, I would say that there was this idea, and I think that it still exists, that a percentage of the procurement that takes place in the Union needs to be on innovation. There's not a battle between traditional and innovative procurement. They should go hand in hand. Continue with your traditional procurement, risk avoidance, which I think that it's a European concept that we are a bit of risk averse, but allow maybe a percentage of the procurement to be a bit more risky, and maybe Commission can come in there and help the de-risk of that. So even if it goes wrong, let it go wrong, okay? But there is at least, let's say, a fund that, or a guarantee that undertake that, and then you can try it again. So that's important. And it's something that really caught my mind is that ownership and responsibility. So I think that it's very important. I think you mentioned it earlier that if you don't know what are the expectations and who owns what before, during, but most importantly, after the end of the project, then it's better not to engage into any kind of these activities. Because even with the de-risking, it will just fail. I'm not against failing. I'm afraid that sometimes fail will mean the end of innovation procurement. So that's why these are the things. It's a lot of things for tomorrow, but tomorrow is a lot. It's a big time. So let's help doing at least this.
Absolutely, thank you. And you mentioned two important things, I think. The concept of de-risking. Somehow can you support cities or public authorities to de-risk, and I think the other thing is the perception of de-risking. So it's not only about actually de-risking, where there may not already exist a risk, but a perceived risk that can be reduced, be it through training or the provision of some kind of professionalization. And also then that's the wider support that can come from the Commission. Okay, then moving on, the city perspective. Tina, please, what would need to happen tomorrow for you to procure one of those solutions or an innovative solution, for example?
I thought about this like a very practical way, that what makes cities easy to, what helps cities to get interested in the new innovations and so on. So I think that that there is like a making it easy. It's the basic message that for example, Victor, you had a very interesting pitch and like good graphics and like got me interested, like that's very important, and that kind of material, that because always if you contact a city officer, maybe it's the wrong one, but then we need the good material that you can forward to the right persons in the city. So I think that is very important message, that you got the kind of good pitch deck that you can send, and even if somebody says that you meet somebody or then you send an email and somebody says maybe you can send more information that I'm not the right person, but I can forward it. So that's important. And then I think also that with today's pitches, with the Navigator AI, they had a very nice 90 days trial. So that's kind of easy to purchase without having a big you don't need that much procedure, and you can try something without the risk. So I think that was one important thing. And then I think the last one is maybe a little bit more difficult. It's about that because cities, they have when we have a need to have something, and then there are different kind of different operators in the market, and we would like to but they have different business models. So how we can kind of have a discussions that and have the equal bidding and so on. So I think that's something that we have to think about together then, and with the conversations, and how it could be that companies with a different kind of business model could make a bid for the same case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Super, thank you. Mari.
To relate it to the challenge that was presented today, I think that there is no tomorrow solution, I'm afraid. That being said, there are entry points. We are ready for pilots, and we do have smaller tenders out in this area every now and then. But in terms of the big investments, we are not there yet. We still need to analyze the market more, and especially our needs, because this is a very complex area where we see that our role as a buyer is more complex. We need to think more in system and in terms of the city as a whole, so that takes time. So, and we are currently now working on a strategy in this area. So whatever we learn in these kind of sessions is very useful in that sense. And also pilots are very useful for us to understand our needs better, to better specify in future tenders. So I think as we are now, that those are the possibilities. And I just also wanted to comment on this speaking the same language, which I think is very, very important, because there's a lot of talk about how the public sector and procurement moves so slowly, and that startups move so fast. And that's the mismatch. But I also think sometimes that on the supplier side, there's need to make, as you mentioned, Vasilis, really see what is the procurement language, and also what is the need that is being specified. Because if you have a solution that is wonderful, but you forget to read what the city needs, then it's not so wonderful, maybe. So that's also important to keep in mind, that we all have to speak the same language, and that if we are speaking like this, then ask the questions. Ask us what are we not specifying clearly, what is unclear here. So yeah, this speaking the same language is very, very important.
Super, thank you. Another point in favor of that communication between supplier and buyer, and also maybe something around how the processes enable that conversation to take place to support you in having those conversations more than you may already be able to. Adriana, I'll give you the last word on this question.
I think that many of useful things were said, and maybe I would like to stress that it's really important for us to understand what we are going to procure, the preparation phase is very crucial, and in reality, the process of procurement itself is longer than the preparation phase. So for us, it's really crucial to focus on this preparation phase to, once the needs are set, to really know if it's possible to get it from the market. The other thing is that really market sometimes doesn't know the needs of the public sector, of the city. I understand they seek some kind of innovation because they are maybe sexy, they be needed by someone else. But for the public services are sometimes really not possible to use it, and it won't work. So we really need to talk to the market. We really need to focus on the preparation phase. We really need to talk with our colleagues from other departments that there are other possibilities how to procure and how to get things for the better life of our citizens. That's all for me.
Great, thank you. And we're focusing there, I think most of you are talking here about the pre-procurement phase, this preparing to buy, what needs to happen for your cities, to identify your needs. And one of the points that came up was around procuring different business models, being less prescriptive about exactly what you're buying, but more able to define a need and then open to the market to address that challenge in whatever way it sees fit, and giving you the flexibility through the procurement to be able to evaluate different business models, different offers from suppliers that can still address that challenge in an equally robust way. So that was really interesting. I think the prioritizing procurement as a strategic tool came through very strongly, and then the question is, how can we do this more so? You talked a little bit about your climate city contracts, but more than that, the need to link the procurement department with those owners of needs, I think it was phrased as at one point, but also those working in climate and environment departments, those that have a focus also on the bigger strategic roles. We always say, you know, everyone talks about breaking down silos all the time, but making sure that you can bring that procurement insight into the process as soon as possible so that you can begin to think about some of these more strategic aspects that we've spoken about here today. So thank you very much. What we want to give you the opportunity to do now is to mingle a little bit. So thank you for your attention and focus. The panelists are sticking around until the end of the session, which is at 1:30. There's no reason for you to move anywhere because lunch will then be served here. So there's no excuses for leaving at this stage. I have a Mentimeter again, so I'm going to ask for your participation and to get your phones out, and hopefully this works. Perfect. Hopefully you can scan the QR code on the screen. We want to get a bit of a snapshot of where you currently stand with procurement. What are the areas that you feel strongest in? Where are the areas maybe that you're lacking? So at the very least, get a bit of a sense of that. And hopefully use this to guide your networking, your discussions that can take place around the stage once we finish this. And you'll have the opportunity also to pick the brains of my panelists. So I see 14 joined. Maybe there's scope for a few more people who are hiding. Don't worry, it's entirely anonymous. 15, can we get to 20? Maybe 15 is where we are going to top out. That's fine. 15 people, you're going to have intense and very personal conversations once we do the opportunity for you to meet the panelists. I don't know if we can move on to the results of them or the actual questions of the Mentimeter, or if I have control over that, maybe. Oh, perfect. So here we go. We're talking about your strengths. At what stage is your organization currently the strongest when thinking about the procurement life cycle? So is it in needs identification? Is it market engagement? Is it the drafting and the creating of your tenders? Is it evaluating bids? Or is it that contract management side of things, measuring impact, that sort of thing? Okay. I'm seeing the start or the pre-procurement phase and the post-procurement phase being most most strong within your organizations, and the needs identification particularly. So for those who expressed a desire to be stronger in this, maybe the audience out there has some solutions and suggestions for how to improve that needs identification process and how to strengthen your ability to define what it is that you need to buy. I need 3 more responses. But I think the results are pretty clear. Needs identification is where you currently feel the strongest, and hopefully that reflects the fact that you know what it is at least you're trying to achieve, even if not necessarily how, and the solutions that Victor and his fellow EIC innovators and other SMEs across Europe will need to address. Let's move on to the next question. What is currently the biggest barrier to innovation procurement in your city? This is a word cloud. Please feel free to add your own initial thoughts, but what is it that's hindering you? We've heard a little bit about the discommunication between some departments, the aversion to risk, issues associated with the processes themselves, or is it appetite from the city to procure innovative solutions and to take a more innovative approach to public procurement? Money, of course, personnel, organization, the way you're structured maybe, the difference or the distance between the procuring team and those who have the needs, red tape, skills. I think that probably links to the personnel question of just having the people available to do the innovation procurement, governance within the city, maybe things for our colleagues from DGRTD and EIC to take away and think about how some of these barriers can be addressed. The head of procurement. Okay, it's a good job this is anonymous, isn't it? Okay, and then we'll go on to the next question. How connected, so this is linked to your work within the mission, how connected is procurement to your Climate City contract implementation? So from very to not sure, basically. Procurement is central to our CCC, hopefully maybe. Procurement is aligned in some areas, but it's not citywide. Procurement is still mostly operational, and we are just starting this discussion. And then not sure, obviously. I'm not seeing procurement be central to anyone's CCC. But maybe this is something that could change, or maybe at least procurement being aligned in some areas. Thank you very much, whoever put that. Procurement is aligned in some areas, but not citywide. Maybe this reflects an acknowledgement that it is a strategic tool and that it should be used more and more. But thank you for sharing these. What I'm going to do now, we have 5 minutes left, is I'm going to invite the panelists, once we've given them a big round of applause, to come down into this area in front of the stage, and then invite you all, if you have questions that I didn't ask them, anything that they didn't cover in their presentations, if you have anything to ask, please take this as an opportunity to do so. If it be policy, be it implementation, be it, dear Victor, I want to buy your solutions, and then we can go from there. So, please could you join me in thanking very much my 6 panelists. Super, and thank you for your attention. And yeah, if you would like to populate this area below, and we can have a discussion about procurement, CCCs, innovation, the EIC, anything that tickles your fancy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hot mic situation.